also known as Kenneth Shumaker. I write the several series and short stories. I have the novel Lair Army published on Amazon, Kobo, Ingram Sparks, and Apple. I have published for Eric Kriegel the novel Exhaustion in the Tin Woods and a few short stories. Now, what we're here for is an educational series called Del Rey and InUPress Education. We originally called it a few different names, and we considered calling it Del Rey and InUPress Writers Education, but we dropped the writing and just called it Education, just to make it easier. Now, I've been published several times traditionally and supported publishing and self-publishing in indie publishing. I write heavily every day, 3 to 500 to 2,000 words, depending what my time allows. I support other writers and businesses in motivation and productivity and many other things. I counsel businesses and writers, and I'm here to support you and educate you with Del Rey as my guest host. So join us on Del Rey and InUPress Education. Enjoy. May the word stay with you. Thank you. A lot of writers don't realize it's at some point you become blind to what you're writing.
Yep.
You don't see what you're writing.
That's why I was so worried about my book when I first gave it to the editor, because I was like, oh my gosh, it's going to come back and it's going to have all these holes in it and he's going to have it like just red pen everywhere and there's going to be so many things I have to rewrite. Most of what he did was grammar, and there was like one thing that he pointed out that I never explained. And he's like, most like is really good. And I was like, really? Because I kind of shifted gears like an entire 180 halfway through the book, and he goes, yeah, that threw me a little, but I liked it. I was like, oh, cool.
The other thing you gotta think about too is you just hit it on the head. Like you were worried about what the editor was going to say, but you're also ready to accept that there was going to be big changes.
Yeah.
A lot of writers and creatives don't take criticism well.
No.
Because a lot of criticism comes back negative.
Yeah.
A good editor or publisher will say, this needs work, but if you do this, it'll fix it.
Yes, exactly. That's my big thing, is when someone tells me that there's something wrong with my story, I'm like, okay, great. How can I make it better? I always have a thing where like I feel like you can't say something's wrong if you can't help fix it.
Exactly. Like I had an author ask me about a blurb, and I told him point by point what the weakness was, how to fix it, and why.
Yeah.
He came back. I had 11 people tell me this was great. Why are you telling me this? I go, if you didn't want to hear my point of view, why did you ask me?
Yeah. There can be a lot of people that like the thing, or maybe there's a lot of people that are just really, really nice and don't want to tell you they don't like the thing. But maybe there are a lot that do, but there's still going to be the 1 or 2 people that are like, okay, hang on, it can be better. Most
people he asked were family and friends.
Yeah.
And family and friends will not tell you the dirt.
That's why when, like, I know with self-publishing, like, you have to make sure it's edited and stuff, but I've also put my book off in the hands of about 12 other people that are not related to me at all, except for one of them is my cousin, but that's because she was really excited for the book. But everybody else is not related to me whatsoever, and I'm like, okay, tell me if this works, tell me if this doesn't work, and I made sure that at least 2 of them didn't like the genre that I wrote in, because if you make someone the genre that they don't even like, that's a big plus. And one of them is super, super picky about what they like. And then I was like, here, rip it apart, give it back.
That's the same process I used for my first novel, beta readers. I actually located 6 2 were in South America, 4 in or 3 in the States, and 1 in Canada. And totally unrelated, totally just people that I contacted out of the blue that had read stuff I wrote. And 2 were referrals from these people. And they were Amazon reviewers. And I said, this is what I got. Can you beta read it? Give me your feedback. And when I got the feedback, I went through and I said, what do they all say the same? What do they say differently? What do they say only one person says? That stuff can be put aside because that's just opinion that nobody agrees on. All the stuff that they all say the same needs to be worked on.
I know one of my big weaknesses as a writer is the way that I write is very wordy, and there's some people that can follow it really well, but I lose some people too. And that's one thing that I've just started to come to realize, because anytime I try to read something to my boyfriend, for example, I lose him half the time because he's like, okay, whoa, hang on, back up. So now I've been trying to work on tightening up what I write, because I know that that's one of my weaknesses, that I just sort of overword.
Okay, you just hit on another good point, because as a creative, you're going through the phase where you're learning and you're taking points from people by observation. You're saying, here's my work, and you're observing how people are reacting to it. You're saying, okay, they're reacting to it this way. There's something that needs to be fixed. Yeah,
exactly. Well, it's definitely been a thing that just started, because like I said, I've been writing my whole life, but I've always been sharing it with like immediate people. I've never really put it out for people, put it online or anything like that. And now that I'm doing that, that's kind of the big thing that I'm able to do now, because there's more eyes on it, there's more honesty on it, and there's more things that are coalescing, coming back and going, okay, this is hard to follow, I gotta fix it.
Another resource I found good is developmental editors, line editors, and copy editors. Because if you sit down with them after they've gone over a manuscript and say, where was my weaknesses? What was I repeatedly doing that needs fixing? And they can say,
I make twitchy.
Pardon?
I make my characters too twitchy. The amount of times that my editor had to pull out, he quirked his mouth up to the right, or he smirked, or he smiled, or things like that. I make them so twitchy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like, I fixed a lot of my word choices and my grammar choices, because I sat down with the editors and said, look, what am I doing that I repeat that needs fixing?
Yeah.
Repeatedly needs fixing.
Yeah. That was what I did with mine. Like, I think at one point I kind of stopped replying to them because I'm really bad for that. When I get really busy, I'll forget to respond to people, and then I just sort of, then it's like, well, now it's awkward to do it, so then I just don't message them again. But the first thing that I did when I got it back was I read through it on my own and you know, double checked everything, made sure that like there wasn't any confusions on certain things, and then I went back and was like, okay, this is what I noticed the big difference is from what you sent to me and what I sent to you originally, and like that was part of how I figured out that I'm really wordy, because I realized I couldn't even read my first 3 chapters. I would get so bored and just stop. And then I get it back and I was able to just like read right through it and everything. And I was like, wow, that was a lot of words taken out. And he goes, yep, that's it. And that was the thing, was like, I continued asking him, okay, so what did you think of this thing when it happened? What did you think when that thing happened? What did you think about like all these other like different things that I had questions about, you know? And it was always, you know, these were the things I was worried of, and you didn't point them out, so what's up?
and that's another thing that we talked about earlier. Writers groups, they point those things out.
Oh yeah.
And they help you. Like they say, look, you're doing this. What if you did it this way?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?